Hi. I think the music needs to go down a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, that sounds better. Hi, though. Hi, Trev. Hi, Barry. I hope you're doing well. How's things? How are we? Heyo, hi. I am a mess. I'm in a state, but we roll. I've done nothing all day, but I feel exhausted. It's been one of those days. But yes, I hope you're both doing well. I hope things are good. Yeah. I'm already tired. I wasn't sure if I was going to stream today, because I was a little bit like, oh, I don't know. But yes, a stream is somewhat necessary today, because, as you may well know, I play No Man's Sky a lot, and they do these expeditions, which are in real world timed, like, events. There we go, better music. Real world timed events, and I've done most of the current one, but like not all of it, because it's a combat one and I don't like combat and I was scared. And I was like, wait, I should probably check when it finishes. And so I go on the game and I click on the expedition and it says 1 day remaining. So I'm like, oh fuck, I've got to do this. Careful not to get muted. I'm all good, right? I'm all good. What do you mean? What do you mean? We're so good here. We're so good. Oh, with the music. Got you. Yes. No, it's fine. We're all good. It's okay. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing today, because I've realised I have to finish the expedition, otherwise I will never be able to finish it, because it's a limited timed exclusive. So I've already played for like 2-3 hours today, but we're going to do a little bit more. Well, I mean, I'm going to finish it on stream, because I've only got a little bit left to do. But, yeah. I've also eaten copious amounts of pizza in the past hour, so I'm quite full. Vibes. Also, I miss messages. Literally thinking about it then stream. That's okay. Oh, love that. Love that for you. Pizza. Oh yes. Pizza with hot dog in the crust of the pizza, like a circular hot dog in the crust. Oh, it's obscene, but I love it. I'm so here for it. But yes, I love that for you, Barry. Don't you give me that face. It's so good. Like you have stuffed crust with like the cheese or the garlic or something. But no, I have it with hot dog. Oh, Donkey Kong. Okay, cool. Just doing the dishes, then I thought, wait, it's usually a snow stream announcement by now. Yeah, but hot dogs. Hot dogs. Trev, no, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Sorry, I'm rushing to my defense and ignoring Barry, but yes, love that for you. Yes, no stream announcements. To be fair, yeah, it is. I do normally stream on Saturdays. I was slightly thinking of not streaming because I'd done like a solid 5-hour shift on my PC of like other stuff and then playing No Man's Sky, and I was like, I should not, because ow. But you know, something like American hot dog. Yeah. Like if I got the hot dog in a jar, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed. Wait, is that not a thing in America? Oh fuck. Have I just exposed myself? Like, you know. Oh. Wait, that goes so small. What are you doing, PC? You know, like those sorts of things. But like just two very big ones that go like around one half, and then another hot dog going around the other half, and it's like, oh my god. It's so good. Yeah, no, you when you play Final Fantasy as well. No Man's Sky kind of is my Final Fantasy, to be honest. But oh, did you all want to see? To be fair, yeah. I never like knew the word glizzy. It just sort of appeared And for me, it appeared when Fall Guys came out, and everyone was like, "Oh, I've got the glizzy skin," and it's like, shut the fuck up. Yeah, no, and that's what's in the crust of my hot dog. Tangent though. Oh, if I do in fact do the tangent, it might cut off the music. How can I avoid that from happening? If I do this, it should not happen. Please hold. There we go, that's happening now. Okay. So, part of my No Man's Sky obsession, as we know, they updated it like in the summer with like a really big atmospherics update, and one of the things they changed was the water. Fucking look at what I captured today in a storm. Like, what? Wild ass waves, like Jesus Christ. It was so much. But I was so here for it. Discord, go back on the other monitor. You're banished. Thank you. Nope, that one. Your uni friend. It was me in Lethal Company pulled a hot dog and just heard a glizzy in the VC. Love that. I didn't know hot dogs were in Lethal Company. Won't lie, but you know. No, it's so good, Trev. It's so good. Okay, I've just seen something even more fucking obscene than what I have. There we go, yeah. So like I have something like that, right? Just a little hot dog just in the crust, and it gives you quite a tall crust, and it's very doughy, and it's ooh, it's good. It's so good. But then I've just seen images like this. Like the me up. I want that. That's what I want. I don't know how to get one, but I want one. Because all I have is the regular that way. But the other one looks obscene. That's one you've had. Where? Text me the address. Where did you get this, or where did you go for this? Because I need it. I need it. Oh, it may be modded. I literally never played unmodded. So I have no idea what's modded, what's actual game. I mean, I don't know much about Lethal Company and what's in it, but from what I've seen of like Twinkly Tor and Mimi and Trev play Lethal Company, I've not seen any hot dogs. Just saying. Well, I think so. Listen, sweet potato mousse in the crust was a stretch. A hot dog in the crust is next level foulness. What the fuck is sweet potato mousse? Like this, Trev? Like that? Or then I've also seen one that's like that. And the fact that the colours are so different, first of all, disturbs me. I mean, that's a vegan potato mousse. The other one is just a potato mousse. But like, what? No, I'm not on board with that, Trev. What is that? That looks like it should be ice cream, but it isn't. Which actually is how they show ice cream in commercials, isn't it? Thinking about it. Like mashed potato. Yeah. Okay, that might be why. But the other picture, this one. I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold on that one, Trev. Looks like peanut butter. It looks like just... I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. But I'm not with it. It's like an applesauce texture. I don't know what. I don't know the texture of applesauce. But it worked. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hi, Sabine. It really did, didn't it? It really did. It changed so much. I hope you're doing well, though, lovely. Hi. How are you? How is things? No, I'm not sold on that. Hi, hello. Okay, so we should do the No Man's Sky, because I don't think it will take me all stream. So we could move on to something else if it doesn't take me, you know, that long. But we'll see. We would have fun day and finish off the story of DDV. I saw that. I saw your Instagram story on the starting soon screen, and when it said you finished DDV, I was like, what? What do you mean finished? Is that it? What is Sabine going to do now? What are you going to do without DDV? Tetris Yaps, Berry's got her vote in already. Good to know. I feel like I jam to this every time it comes on. I'm like, ooh. You always have your vote. Only make sure, like, Animal Crossing, there's a lot more. Okay, cool. Got you. Double audios, no thanks. Okay. A lot more quests and DLC await. Okay, good. Good. I'm happy to hear that. We have free time. I'll stream you on as what you want. Yeah. Okay. Barry, you should get Tetris Effect. Tetris Effect Connected's got multiplayer, Barry. Barry. Get Tetris. This is happening. Get Tetris. Have we? I haven't. I mean, I've not had any notifications that I've been paid. Oh, wait. No, the other day I did. Yeah, no. No, I have been paid, because it was a depressingly low amount. Yeah, no, I have been paid, yeah. It was last month, end of the month. Okay, cool. I know, yeah, it was rough. It was rough. You two not gonna like, honestly, though. Oh, Tuesday, this is convenient, actually. I found a really pretty planet. Like, look at the colours! I love this. I love the blues and the red. Well, whenever there's a red tree, I'm sold, basically. Whenever there's a red tree, I'm invested. There was Sabine. I got really excited. So I was busy when the thing was happening live. So then I went, like, I had to watch the VOD after, and you know they publish all of the individual ones as separate videos. I just saw a thumbnail that said Tetris, and I was like, what? What is this? So I was hoping there was going to be a Tetris Effect more connected or something. Like Tetris Effect connected even stronger or so. I don't know. I'm not good at branding, but, you know. Yes. That's what I was hoping for. But no. Oh, fuck. Right, okay. So. Let's put you in charge of name tags. I'm not sold. Okay. So, besties. This is where we're at. This is the expedition. So, there's 5 phases. 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've done phase 1. I've done phase 2. I've done phase 3. I've just got that one to do in phase 4. And then I've got this last little bit left. So we are finishing this today. For sure. Which is good, because it ends tomorrow. And I have work tomorrow. So. What I need to do. I need to score 4 hits with 1 grenade, apparently. Which is what I've spent the past while doing. I've been getting grenades. And then what else is there? Do some cooking, okay. Oh, I better not have sold all that. Or if I've sold all that, I'm going to fume. And then there's just like the end stuff. Do I have the ingredients? in the nutrient processor. But yes. Enjoy Disney Dreamlight Valley. That sounds great. Process rancid flesh. Oh, I didn't sell it. Thank fuck. Wait, is that it? No shot. That's all I had to do. That's all I had to do. Lovely. Cook up a nightmare. Me in the kitchen every time. And I got a stew for my efforts. Yippee. So, then. I have to go to the last place, do the last boss fight. Yeah. So, and then need to hit some things with grenades. So, I feel like I should go to the boss fight, and while I'm at the boss fight, try and hit things with grenades. That seems like the plan to me. So, we actually might be finished with this even quicker than I thought. This might take me like 10 minutes. But let's find out. Oh, load, please. Okay. May I warp straight there? That would be nice. Good. Okay. I feel like this is a bit lower quality. Full white loading screen should be illegal, actually, though. Normally, it's just like a transition. It just fades to white and then it loads in, but that was not nice. Okay. Also, is the game looking and sounding okay? I hope it is. I do think the game is getting more optimized, like it's less difficult to stream. Oh, I don't care. I don't want your trades. Thank you. Why fade to white if you can fade to black and spare my eyes and brain? Like, I'm streaming this in relative darkness. Like, please don't. Just please don't do that. Ooh. Nice. I'm going to fly straight past this. But nice to know it's there. Okay, it's been a while since I did one of these, so I think I need to land and then try and find a building. I don't really remember. I took literally weeks off. Wait, no, it's gone. Oh, it's there, isn't it? It's got to be that. Right? Surely it's this. Also, floating flowers. Pretty. Pretty. Right, this is where I need to be, right? Okay. Liquidator command broadcast follows. This dialogue does not matter, but oh well, let's go. Congratulations on securing the dropstone. Your continued survival places you in the 95th percentile of all cleaning units. The scouts of the Vanguard have mapped out the prime infestation sites on this world. You must now reach the nest and do your part. Yes, yes, I will do my part. Okay. Also, it's windy out here. Look at them go. Wow. The game always performs worse in storms. Like, this is just a thing. Oh, there's a hole here. Okay. Okay, reward for going there. Oh, nice. Just currency. Sick. Where am I going? Where do you want me? Want me over there. How far away is it? Quite far away. Let's go into space. Oh, oh, oh. I don't see any ground. Oh. Oh, I understand now. Okay, well. Let me land on the water then. Okay, so. Missions then. When I go over there, I think a big horrible bug is going to jump out of the ground at me. But also, I have grenades, and I need to hit 4. I need to hit 4 things with 1 grenade, apparently. Can't wait for that. And also, I've only got 19 grenades. And if I fuck this up, it's going to be a pain to go get more grenades. So let's not do that, and also let's wait for it to not be stormy. As if on cue, thank you. Robot voiced lady. Oh, okay. Yep. Wait, let me go on there. Because then I might, oh fucking hell, be able to hit 4 at once. Could you lads concentrate yourselves a bit closer, maybe? Like, you don't understand. Could you come over here, please? Ew, 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 ew. Right, this is not going to work. Let me just defeat the boss. You're disgusting. You are so gross, lady. There we go. So now, hopefully... Did that do it? Oh, it did it! Yes! Spawn trap them, that's perfect. Right, let me just fuck out of here. Because Jesus Christ. Wait, they can go in the water? Oh, that's horrible. Nasty. Okay, well. That did not take me very long. Cool. Oh, no, I have to go in. Oh, I have to go in the place and read the thing. Oh. Whoa, what are those? Whoa, they're weird. Okay. Are you all still here and still angry? Or you can't now? Oh, they're still here. Yeah, get me up here, you little bitches. Okay, good, they're gone. Oh, the plant's in there. Nasty. Okay. Go away. Go away. I sponge the lingering slime from the terminal. The Liquidator's logs are once again available. Here follows the testament from Liquidator whatever of the Vanguard. I've marked this world for you, but I've not done my part. I leave that to you. You will have done what I asked for, I'm sure. From here, I leave my part behind. I'm nothing to the Vanguard now. A shameful deserter. Hello, hi Blair. Hi, hi. Found the nest and committed myself to it. Cool. Yay, I did it. How are you, friend? How's things? Whoa, this got pretty. Is this sunset? Yes, it's 6 o'clock. Damn. Really, yeah. Damn. But yes, I hope you're doing well, Blair. How are you? How are things? Just painting. Love that. Love that for you. Wow. Wow. Okay. So, phase 4, I've done this. Yeah, I don't need that. What's that? Okay, sure. Oh, right, that's what I'm to do now. Oh, okay. So why do you have emergency stream? So, it's emergency stream because I'm doing, where is it? This expedition. And I've been doing this largely in my own time. Because I need to complete all of these missions. Yeah, and so the expeditions in this game are time exclusive events. Like in real world, you have a limited time to complete them, and I didn't realise that this finishes tomorrow. So that's why we're doing this now, because I've had literally about a month to do this, and it ends tomorrow. So that's what I'm doing. But we're right at the end. Like it's done. It's over. Hang on, I need to message my parents. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh yeah, yeah. Blair's doing Warhammer figures. Ooh, it's got very choppy on the water. Yikes. Yeah. What else have I done? I've done this. Okay. Memory fragment. Okay, I've got some lubricant. Thanks for that, game. Thank you for the lubricant. Indeed, lubricant, yes. Yes, yes. Because it's about to be stormy. Is the waves gonna get even bigger? Oh. I was like, why is it shaking? This is an 18 plus game? Apparently so. Actually, you could send a pic and serve if you want to see. I want to see. Yes, yes. Feel free. Okay, getting in the ship time because it's getting stormy. No, that's not it. Okay, so I should go here, should I? The liquidator we've been following recorded a data packet containing their final testament. It's been cached at a nearby location. Retrieve the log and bear witness to their last words. Okay. I love the atmospheric effects, but it does make it a bit difficult to see what's going on, game. Where'd it go? What? I hate when missions unselect themselves. Where is it? Oh, it's over there. It's on this island, isn't it? Of course, there's more monsters here. There's a fucking lot of them, Jesus. Oh wait. You're nasty. Yes, yes, yes. It's very stormy and hot, I know. It's Invid and Pixpam. Okay. I'm gonna open it on my phone because No Man's Sky doesn't let me tapping out. Pick and Pixpam. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to say something very stupid. Do these separate parts attach together to make one figure? Because it looks very good. Love that for you. Yes, okay. Thank fuck the storm's clearing. Oh, fucking stop it. Stop it, you. Thank you. Colour's very nice, yeah. They haven't attached them yet. Oh, yeah, no, that's so fair. Right. Okay, the fluid that clogs the terminals... Oh. The fluids that clog this terminal are unusually thick. Long strands of slime cling to the surface despite my best efforts to remove them. It's as if they're somehow alive, clinging to the words that flash across the screen. That's grim. Here follows the final testament of the Liquidator, once a scout of the Vanguard. The fluid that engulfs me has begun to set. I wish to leave these final words, but as I feel the hive resonate around me, as I feel the jelly gently consume my bones, I no longer remember why. What's left of me I leave here for any who follow. The hum of the hive is all I hear now, the binding music of the brood. My heart sings the song of the swarm. That's weird. That is weird. Okay. We did it! Okay. So, I've done that. What the fuck is a grub cocoon? I don't know, and I don't think I want to know. And then I got that. Ooh, an egg. Oh, you can't see it. It's behind my webcam. But I've got an egg, apparently. Here we go. Congratulations, traveller. The expedition is complete. Return to the space anomaly to view your rewards and achievements. Exclusive expedition phase. Rewards are automatically available on all saves. In addition, you will earn Quicksilver, nanites, or units for feats accomplished during the expedition. Before finishing the expedition, use the expedition terminus to send valuable items to primary save. Surplus items will be processed to units and nanites as appropriate. Like an actual egg. Like you can hatch things. You can hatch like pets, like friends in the game. Should you want to do that for some reason. Yeah. Okay, let me go to, first of all, the space anomaly.
Technology recharge.
Not the space anomaly, the space station. Yes, yes, yes. That makes more sense. I thought you were like, I got some eggs. Oh, no. I do have an omelette in the game, I think. Do I? There. Oh no, not that. That. No, not that either. I thought I had some food that was like actually good. Can't remember now. Never mind. But no, I've got no eggs currently. Whee! Ooh, interesting colours. You also thought actual egg. Okay. Okay. Right. My second response isn't it too early for Easter eggs? Too early for Easter eggs? What? Because it's the end of August. Like, for next year's Easter eggs. Because, like, Easter's been and gone, bestie. But, like... You know. Yep, okay. Well, just give me 1 second, Blair. You know what's about to happen, don't you? Please hold. Are you happy? Are you happy now? I still have. I thought you haven't just found one in your room. You haven't found one in your room. Right. This is not the only one, currently. Sorry, a smoke alarm's going off in my building. It's not my smoke alarm. Hopefully it just goes off. Come on, it's not going to be around for long. I do still have more than one. Okay, smoke alarm has gone off. Situation update. I don't have to evacuate the building. Someone's probably just burnt some toast. Evacuation midstream, honestly. Honestly. Yeah, no. I may have more than one Easter egg still. But you know, it's fine. And now that I've brought this one down, I might actually eat it. The best laughing when I was like, so. Yeah. Yep. No, it's a thing that I have Easter eggs. No, ignore me. I was going to say it's the last day they're in date, but it's July they go out of date. Oh well. Chocolate's always good. It's always good. For real. We have holiday-specific food around for December, and they're already in store. Oh, I was in... Sorry, I'm just replying to my parents replying to me. Okay. Spence, sorry. They're going to start stocking back to school stuff after the kids get back. Blair, I took this photo like 2 days ago of a store. Not my store, but a store has Christmas stuff. Like an aisle of Christmas stuff out already. Fuck off. No, that is the situation. We love capitalism. Yes, we do. This is madness. It is. It very much is. Who's buying stuff in August? I saw... So I've seen people say on Twitter, because it's one, like... What am I trying to say? It's one large chain has put out all of their Christmas stuff already. And the store is like bargains discount store. And so people are saying it's because people who are perhaps on lower incomes need more time to be able to get stuff gradually, which is like fair enough, but also like it's August. It's August. Oh, do we have to do this? Like, I'm not ready for this. Yeah, no, like, makes sense. I definitely get it in that point of view. But also, like, get the discount stuff right after Christmas. That's true as well. Oh, yeah, nor in mine. We don't... In my parents' household, we don't get new Christmas stuff. Since I've moved out, I haven't got any Christmas stuff. I'm just like, I always want to do that, but I always forget. The thing I do get is wrapping paper, because my store sells wrapping paper. So it's like right there, and then when it goes reduced, I'll be like, yes, give me all of these ones. But, you know. Why is there a mission called Everything is Fine? Why is that a thing? Sorry. Okay, where was I going? I know what I was doing. I'm going to go to my little base that I made and quickly get rid of it. Your mum bought a Christmas tree in January. I thought she was mad. My family has like alive, like actual trees that have grown. So we can't do that. Turns out it was 50% off. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, that is how it works. That's fully how it works. The waves big right now? Ooh, they are quite big, aren't they? Large waves. Love to see it. Okay. I want to just get rid of this. See how the same feature you get dragged out of our lofty FD? That's fair. Yeah, let's get rid of the base. Capitalism is why I hate Christmas. Yeah. I can't be doing with it. Like, I had somebody in my workplace said, not yesterday, I think it was the day before, that they would much rather have work in Christmas than like now when the kids go back, because for my store and my type of store, back to school is a big thing because of, you know, what we sell. But no, oh no, I can't cope with Christmas in the store. Like, I would much rather sell notepads and folders and files and pens than wrapping paper that's fucking this long and our bags are only that big. And I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Oh, that's nice. Getting like a couple of new decorations. Love that. Yeah, the planning for local families makes sense. Like, I was gonna say I don't know how much the store themselves actually. I don't know if that is the reason the store's doing it. I suppose it is. You know, is it something that the store cares about, or is the store just like, let's whack it all out as early as they can because people are going to buy it? Who knows? Who knows? So what the chance it's cheaper? It probably is. I mean, it's Home Bargains. It's probably going to be a better, like, I mean, the store's called Home Bargains. It's going to be lower priced stuff, probably. It might be cheap anyway. To be fair, I feel like I keep talking about this. I went to Potatoes last night, and they had a new decoration up, like a Halloween one from Home Bargains, and it actually looked really nice. Oh, if you buy it now, it's going to be cheaper. Oh, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. For my store, it's the same price all the fucking time. But, that's just my store. Okay. Yeah, that's true. The more it's in front of you, I suppose it's like, words are hard. It's gonna permeate into your head. Okay. Buys for branded cleaning supplies. This is so specific. I get my bottles of mayonnaise from Home Bargains because it's genuinely, usually about 50p cheaper per bottle than anywhere else, but the ones I got just now, just the other day, are like no shit, like 90 pence or a pound cheaper than like Tesco. So, The posties deliver on Saturdays? Yes, they do. They do. Checking the letterbox. I mean, when you say checking the letterbox, do you have to go down the stairs and stuff? Because, like, I would just check tomorrow morning. Okay, BRB, no worries. Okay, so. What do I want? Oh. Right, okay. Let me do this one first. I'll have that. Sorry, I should explain. What I'm doing now is transferring items to my main save file. I don't know what I need. Why did they give me lube? I don't know. That's probably useful, isn't it? I'll have the carbon, yes please. I'll have the oxygen. I'll have the copper. Is that it? No shot, that's all I've got. Wow. Yeah, no, I know. I'm aware that lube isn't just for one thing. I'm aware of that, but I didn't know I could use lube for anything. Should probably take the relics in the casing, shouldn't I? No, I shouldn't. I don't need them. Tritium can't hurt. Nah. Okay. Dude, well done, Barry. Well done. You said the funny thing. Oh, they'd be quite good, wouldn't they, to have, to be honest? Yes, that one. What are these ones? I don't need Boltcaster. I don't need that. I don't want that. No, don't need that. The funny had to be said. Well done. Well done. I don't know if I need that. I don't think I do. That can't hurt, can it? Sad news, no pack rules. Okay. Sad times. No, they're all a bit crap, aren't they? Okay, I'll move that and then we can wrap up this bit. Okay, yeah. Right, end expedition. Accept. Now I'm going to get loads of money. Mm. 270 biological horrors, let's go. And I got 7 million force in my inventory. Love that for me. Okay. Finish. Yippee! Okay, how much money have I got now? Oh, 53 million. Love that. Oh wow, I need to get more inventory space, don't I? Wow. Oh, I need to get way more stuff. Okay, well, I can work on that another time. Right. I think I was parked next to a cool planet. Was I? Oh, I so was. Ow. That for a planet, hey? Please, spaceship, cooperate with me, thank you. A hexagonal planet. Now, these are very rare. So I'll just do a show and tell because I can. When it all loads in. Ooh. Might be my favourite type of planet because they're just really fucking cool. What time is it? Okay, the sun's going down. Wee weird thing. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know I was here and wanted to show you that. Okay, we should. Is that all? That's weird. Why does it show like that? What the fuck? Yeah, no. So, we will do something else for the rest of the stream. I don't know what to do. Oh, shit. Because I'm not opposed. Exit to desktop. Yippee! Yes, the fuck, please. Okay, so options. I don't think we can start Tetris right now because I don't think I've got the conversation to carry it. for a good hour and a half. So options are, I could do some Leighton, or I could do a quick little Celeste go, or if somebody is still here that plays Fortnite, I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that. I'm literally looking at what I've got on my PC. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, I'm tired. Big tired. So less potential. Not mentioned. No worries at all. No worries. Oh, I haven't got any drink. I should do that. I could do a little Celeste run, which will take me hopefully an hour because that's where my PB's at. I haven't played Celeste since I last streamed it. Redeemed Hydrate, thank you. Are we feeling a little Celeste? My brain doesn't brain. A little Celeste run to relax with this evening. I'm not opposed. Please hold. A little bopping emote. Which little bopping emote? The, like, up and down one? Oh, I said I was going to make a new emote and I haven't done that yet. I need to do that. Yeah, those ones. Them are jams. Right. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Them. They are good. They're fun to make. Did you make those? You're on TV. Oh, sad times. Sad times. Fuck off. You made them. Damn. Sorry. That was such a David Tennant thing to say. You made that. Damn. Go away. I think I accidentally just clicked on a warn. Blair, if you just got a warn, I'm sorry. You beat me. Me, bish. Me. Love that for you, Barry. That's really cool. Okay, so what we're caught snipe for real. What we're planning is I need to find a way to animate a camera flash, and if I can't figure that out, Barry, I'm going to spam your DMs then, apparently. That could be the plan. Oh. Yes, please. Okay, Right, if I just open regular Celeste, my mods might try and load an update. Yes, my mods have opened. Oh, well, okay. Random thing you might find funny, you managed to get yourself re-obsessed with Nesquik milkshake drinks. Love that for you. Sounds so good. I've never really gone for like Nesquik and like milkshakes in a bottle. I've never really gone for them. I'm so much in first year. The obsession has returned. We love. Yeah, no, my mods are updating apparently. And now restarting. Love that. Discovered quickly getting a nice milkshake from places is a pain and expensive. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I saw literally today a job advert for that place that we went to in first year that does like waffles and milkshakes and stuff. Oh wow, some actual Celeste music's just come on the playlist. Love that for me. We'll get to that music later. Me with your little coffees you gotta have every time you leave your house. Oof, some mods haven't loaded. Oh, I don't update. Let's do it. Let's do an update. Let's sit here and yap whilst we update. Ooh, that's doing a big old lot of things. I mean, you're bad for coffee. Gonna try and make your own cold brew to save money. Nice. How can I express this? The person that... No, there's literally no word in the English language to express what I'm trying to say. My friend that you don't know that lives on your road has got a coffee machine. There you go. There you go, just like pop by hers on the way into town. You chose to make your own coffee to save money, but it's not the same. Fair. I think you need an espresso machine rather than using instant coffee. Ooh, okay. The mod Strawberry Jam did not come out in 2021, did it? No. Oh, I don't like that. If that came out in 2021, I feel so old. Go for the investment, yeah. No brown coffee you use in a cafetiere? I don't know. Coffee machine, I assume. I think the coffee itself's the problem. Oh, okay. Coffee beans from a local coffee shop. So they're no grinder beans for me. Is that by Waterstones? Blair, is that the shop by Waterstones? Because I've been there before with Potato to do that, to get coffee beans. It looks good. It looks good. No jug that you just push down. Oh, okay. Safe to recommend that one. Oh, not that one. Okay. Why is my controller not doing anything? Oh, I know why it's not why it's not doing anything. Where the feck's the mouse? There, that's why. Okay. Different chain you're thinking. Okay, cool. Please recommend that one. Potatoes dragged me there after work some days. Like, on multiple occasions, I've been in that place. I won't say against my will, but... sort of. Right, I need to stop this music. Because we have Celeste music now. Game capture. Yee! Okay. I didn't think it took me right out of the game. Okay. Okay, we're good. Been to Central recently. Do you mean inside? Because if so, no, I have not. I mean, I go past it every day on my way to work, but apart from that, no. I don't. Actually, I did recently have to use a train. I know of it, yeah. Oh, I need to get my 100% going on PC. Because that's weak. Weak from me. Getting coffee from them. Ah, okay, cool. Okay, shall we do some video game? Shall we do this? Oh, title and game category. Oh my golly gosh. Not me still streaming in the No Man's Sky category. Celeste. That's better. Good. One in Central. Is new that everywhere. I think there's another one in our city, is there not? At the very least. -2 degrees. Oh yeah, I go past one on the way to work every day. Like a different one. Love that for me. Cool. Did they? Ooh, did not know that. Look at our city go. Sorry, not to be like my city. Look at the city that's 3 out of the 4 of us reside in. Go. Honestly, represent. I applaud you from Cheeseland. Are you from a Mario Kart track, Sabine? Wow. Not to be a coffee snob, but I didn't realise it was a thing till you started going there. What, you didn't realise that you were a coffee snob? Oh, sorry, I didn't read the message above. You see heads everywhere and more prevalent. Starbucks and Costa, yeah. More expensive, but the coffee's just better. Fair. Must be loud living by a Mario Kart track. Truly. Truly. Right, okay. Let's play some game. I should also move my microphone so it isn't blocking the screen because it doesn't matter as much in No Man's Sky. Okay, begin. The mouse is on the screen, it's annoying me. Mouse, please. This is it, Madeline. Just breathe. Starbucks burns their coffee beans. I wouldn't know. Don't get me started on Mackey's. Wouldn't know. Also, do tell me how the game volume is. If it's too loud, there's nothing I can do about it at this stage, I'm afraid. No, I can. It sounds like it's quite loud. In my ears, I mean. If it's too loud, just deal with it. Actually, though. Sounds fine. Okay, good. Okay. You can do this. It's how'd you say tab loud? Okay. Whilst I'm in the menu, I can do it. Oh, actually, I can pause on the screen. I'm daft. I can just pause it here. Okay, I've turned it down a smidge. So, turn down another smidge. Okay. No. See, because I'm playing it today on my PC. If I play on my Switch, I can be like tabbed into OBS and not the. Oh, okay. It's mainly the big set piece scenes, yeah. I've booped it down a bit. I mean, this is not going to be a world record pace PB, so I think I can get away with not. Means have technical issues with the screen's flickering like crazy. Can somebody just confirm that that is a Blair issue and not a me issue? Oh shit. That is a Blair issue, good. I mean bad, but good. Also, excuse me, dying in Forsaken City? Cringe. Yeah, your TV issue. No, that's sad. Hi, returned. Hi. We finished No Man's Sky, so ooh, I'm being shit at the game. I'm really not one to reset runs, but like that was a poor start. Skill issue probably. For me, definitely. Definitely a skill issue for me. Nice one. Nice one. Oh, the mic is still okay. Because you're special, Berry, that's why. No, like, Berry, you might not know this a lot. I think I started the skill issue thing because I said it to Mimi, like, whilst Mimi was pissed at a video game. I said skill issue. And I think it kind of stuck there. You sat the TV off and on. It seems better. Cool, cool. Okay, that was a shocker. 6 deaths. If I continue to suck butt in this level, I might reset. But after this level, it's point of no return. Oh, my microphone is still in the way of the screen. Oh, shit. Well. Oh, you could just jump that. Well, today I learned. think it was better sucks to suck. Better than sucks to suck. That's what Bailey used to say. That's fair. Oh. It would appear, besties, that I'm out of practice at the Celeste. Okay, that was good though. Oh god. Ooh. Strawberry. Okay, I don't think we're going to reset because that was quite good. Saved it. I think I relearned the controls is what I did. Oh no. It's possible that I spoke too soon. Okay. This feckin' microphone. Get out of the way. Thank you. Okay. Got my one strawberry, yippee! You love this girl, you bit love that though. That was the day I got banned. Yes, it was. Yes, yes. Proud of my death count. Not when you're doing a speedrun. Oh, I need to learn to do this, don't I? Oh, okay. Nope, this one. I did, in fact, miss this game. This is very fun. Ugh. Oh, I thought I had another dash, but I don't. Ah! Diagonal, please. Thank you. I'm having a mare. I'm actually having a mare, besties. It's giving mare energy. Mare energy, truly. Okay, that was pretty good. Piss off. It's jam time. Oh, I forget the movement. I forget what I do. Not that. Absolute jams though, yes. Oh, I did that so slowly. Oh, the save though. Nice, well done. I forget how you navigate this area. No, I've gone the wrong way. Oh hey, not to call anybody out, but Barry, you said you played a couple levels of this game. Did you ever play it again? Just because I'm curious. I'm too scared, okay. That's fair enough. Won't lie. Nice. Good job. Oh, I spawned there. Ow. Looks fun, but I don't think your brain and hands work at the same pace. You're literally an artist. Your brain and hands work very well, okay? Wait for Celeste to go on sale before you buy it. That's fair. It does go on sale every so often, and the sale is normally very big. Wait, Trev, stop watching. Spoilers. Stop it. Was it on sale? But haven't played it yet. Fair. All the friends should play Celeste, because it's so good. Thank you very much. Just lurking with the music. Okay, cool. I can't read chat right now, I'm sorry. Ah! Okay. It's fun for what you managed to play. Yes. Did you play the first couple levels? I can't remember what you said now. I love that little respawn strat. You just go into the menu and retry to send you back to the start. Ow. Ooh. I got really scared then that I'd missed one of the keys. But no, we're all good. He chomping, truly. Oh! Whee! Go on. Go on. This room is so long, I'm not risking dying. Okay. Did it! Fun for what you managed to play, even if I wouldn't comprehend anything going on. No, that makes total sense, Sabine. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I think the first couple. Okay, cool. Looks like a game that's very satisfying to play when you get it right, but when you don't, ooh man. It depends, because this game... I love this game, because when you do something wrong, it feels very, like, fair, like... Not to make it a joke, but it feels very much like skill issue, like yes, you know, I just made a mistake there, and I need to do better. But like with other games, it's like, oh well, I pressed jump there, or I feel like I did this, or that enemy came at me too fast, or weird things like that. But in this game, it feels very good, very good. Okay, least favorite level. Although it is the prettiest. Yeah, that's sort of the thing, because I don't get annoyed at my own skill issue. In the concept of video games, I don't really find myself getting annoyed by my lack of skill, I think. Like, I view that as a challenge to then do better. As you can tell by the fact I've... Okie doke! Nailed it. By the fact I've played this game enough that I'm now actually okay at it. Must be nice. Yeah. No, I know. I don't want to be like, oh, well, you know, I'm just good. Because I'm clearly not. But oh well. Oh. Skill issue, truly. That was a skill issue from me. And just not knowing the levels as well as I used to. Meh. Fun job. Ooh. Not you typing 4-line texts when I can't read. I will get to your long message. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you chatting. I love you, friend. Whee! Oh, strong winds. Whoa, okey-doke. Ow. Try to keep it small. No, it's so okay. I just might not read it straight away. Oh. And I might keep dying to snowballs, apparently. Get out of it. Ow. Ooh. Saved it. I would like for there to not be wind. That would be quite nice, to be honest. There we go. Whee! The other way! Ow. Two strawberries. Look at me go today. Okay. You can accept that you're not good at a game and then fail is okay, but if you want to be good and fail, you get annoyed. That's fair as well, I suppose. I mean, honestly, I do that with everything else. Like, if I'm not good at a hobby... No. No, I can't cope, can't do it. But with platforming games, if it's fair, then I'm okay with it. What a song. sent myself. Jesus. Ah! Dashed the wrong way. Oh, I never do that either. Look at me go. Oh, I didn't miss that. Ah! Okay, don't always go straight across. Actually look at where we're going. Whee! There we go. No, get out of my life. That was probably a mistake. That was a mistake as well. Okey-doke. Hello. Ah! Ah! Ugh. I can't remember what I usually do here. Probably that. You know what, get that one on the way back then. No. I always want to try that and I keep forgetting to. Where is it? Yeah. Oh, no. Oh, that's a mistake, wasn't it? Yeah. Cool. Whee! When it lines up like that, I'm gonna drop down on its head. Oh, there's a block there. Well, hey, it's not dark anymore. Damn, girl, you can lift. Thanks, Theo, I do got this. Pushing it. Oh. Another one? Come on. I know how you feel, Theo. Oh, get so mugged off. I don't know if this is good or bad. Fucking go. Okay. Okay. Yeah, missed it again. Theo saves the day again. That was cool. But I never thought to do that before. Yeah, correct. Last one. See ya. Really? I think this is the best way to do that. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh. Whee! Okay, smashed it. Quite literally, actually smashed it. Yippee! Ooh. Hey, it's the music from earlier. Oh shit. Really? Oh my god. Where'd my dash go? Ah! Thank you. Bit close. you. Oh, this music's so good. Ooh. Absolute cat jams. Ah! I didn't have my dash. Ow. Oh, wowie zowie. Oh, I thought you did two. Oh, that was fair enough. The brain, please. There we go, that's the quick way. Ow. Oh, fuck me! Saved it. Totally calm, in control. Ow. Oh, oh no. Please, hands. Coordinate. Oh no. Yippee! Okay. We're at 42 minutes. I think that means we're still on for potentially sub-hour. I think. But I couldn't say for sure. I have a last drink before the game. Bum 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 bum. Whee! Oh no! Saved it for sure. Flying through it. Thanks, Mimi, for teaching me that one. Oh. Thank you. Me. Nope. Don't go too fast, Snow, you fool. Problem is, with this section, if you try and use your brain, it just doesn't work. That's what I find, at least. Oh. Sorry, as you were. Oh, every time I do the long way there. Just doesn't work for my brain on the regular then. Fair. Ah! Oh, get me out of this section. Breathing space, please. Thank you. Thing is though, I think the last level, despite it being very, very long, is one of my best levels somehow. Oh, I found a faster route for this as well, but I can't remember it. Ow. Oh yeah, you just do that, you melt. When you make that room so much harder than it needs to be. Oh! Oh no! Go this way! Because it's faster! Oh, okay. Okay. A whole lot of stress just happened, but it's okay. $52 into the last section. 7 minutes. It's kind of still on, to be honest. Sub-hour is still on. Oh. Ah. Big jams, I know, right? Oh, I forgot I only have one dash there. It's only one dash. There we go. Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. No. There we go. Oh, that's a rough respawn. That's a bit cruel, isn't it? There we go. Get the checkpoint. Don't miss it like I have done before. Wound, I know, right? 3.5 minutes, I don't know. I don't know about that. Hi, Sabine. Hi. Oh, climb, Madeline. I thought I could just do that. Oh yeah, because I don't have... Because the wind stopped. Oh, of course. I was too fast. That my thing didn't run out. Wow. Oh. Oh, I think if you hit the wall, it stops it, maybe. Oh, I see. Right, I don't know what's happened here, but we've had an absolute stormer. How's this happened? How's that happened then? Excuse me? 58-15? Me? Let me consult the Discord. Speedrun times, there it is. That is a minute off my PB. That is a minute faster. And you know what? I would say... Oh, sorry, not quite a minute off my PB. But anyway, nearly a minute off my PB. And I would say I kind of sucked on that run. But here we are. Proving myself wrong. Damn. Very impressed with myself. And I haven't played since the 18th of May. So that's 3 months ago, isn't it? What are we on? 31, 8, 24. That's the new PB by nearly a good minute, Berry. That was bonkers. What did you say, Berry? What did you say? But whatever it was, thank you for your faith in me. There is a non-zero chance that my right hand's going to fall off now, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. Professional speedrunner, I know, right? Wait, when did you say that? I see what you've just put in the chat. I missed you saying that. Did you say that while I was like majorly sucking ass at the start of the run and was talking about resetting? Oh yeah, I see it. Like an hour ago. Thank you. Yeah, we love. Thanks for playing. And that, kids... Oh. Click on the game. There we go. And that, kids, is why you don't reset runs. Because I died 53 times. Jesus Christ. So there's 53 opportunities for time save. Oh shit. If any of you saw me post the time in Discord but post it wrong, no, you didn't see that. Huge. Dying 53 times is the optimal strat. So far, it is the optimal strat, yes. Damn. No risk, no reward. Truly. Truly. Risked it all. Big jams. Excuse me, I'm just Googling something. I was going to play some cheeky mods just for fun. But I can't remember what level it is that I love. With the music that I love, I mean. Ew, get the speedrun timer off my screen now. Thank you. That sounds cute. Right, I need to find which level it is that I want to play. That doesn't really help me, to be honest. What is the one? I'm looking at a map now, sorry. At the very, very top, called Loopy Lagoon. Should we go to the Loopy Lagoon? That sounds fun, doesn't it? We only have to get there. Oh, shite. It kind of is, actually, yeah. Oh, is that Loopy Lagoon? Oh, I've done that one quite recently. On stream, I think. Yeah, no, I've done that. I wonder if it says... On my future ending. Oh. Okay, what is the one right in the far corner? Because I'm looking for my favourite... Basically, I'm looking for my favourite song, not even my favourite level. Oh, we're there, okay. Oh, this is it, isn't it? No, it's not. Oh, is this it? Oh, I don't know. It's not it. But it's not paint, I don't think. Unless it is. Always by being jamming. Oh, it is. It is this one. Just a quick walk, then I'll get back to work. Oh, there's spikes there. Honestly, this is the biggest jam in this whole game. It's so good. Oh, ah. Wait, do I get the dashback after that? Oh, I do. Oh, that's lovely. Nah, I fucked it. You can tell when it's levels I don't know as well, I'm not as good. Which, like, makes perfect sense, but, you know. Ooh. What have I found? Paper stars. Folded worries. And yet this dream is restful. That's cute, isn't it? The stars hold folded worries. That's nice. Sorry, I'm sitting really awkwardly as well. Yeah. Me with my paper stars and a whole bunch of worries. That is pretty fitting. I need to go and get some brown paper so that I can do my crafting that I want to do. Ah, I don't want to go down. I want to go up. No, okay, what is down? Let's investigate. Let's go explore. Ah, cool. What am I doing? I want to make more origami trees. And I've got the paper for the leaves somewhere, but I just need brown paper for the tree trunks. Oh, okay. Crafting, yeah. I think I've got the paper. I don't actually know where it is, but I think it's with me in this... Here, it's here, not at my parents'. Oh, okay. Ah! Oh no, I need it, don't I? Whee! Nice, good job. Ooh. Madeline, we need to slow down. We can't keep up this pace. I'm fine. Really? No, we're not. This isn't just about the walk, is it? This project isn't healthy. Maybe we should stop. After all we've done, I'm not just going to give up. It needs to be good enough. I have to see this through. Madeline. I really like this level. Oh, ah. Can I just dash that? Yeah. Might just stand here, to be honest. Oh. Ah. Okay. Thank you for that, game. Wait, what's up here? I failed to see how that's my problem. Oh! Oh! Yay! Strawberry! Nice. Oh, they go fast. I feel like on this level I've got a little bit of trouble making out what is background and what is foreground. Wait, no, I've already done that. Ding dong. I got a bus! Part of me was right. I can't keep doing this. Maybe I should just give up. I'm trying my best, but I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. I've put so much time into this, so much energy. But right now I'm fighting against the current. Every step of the way. I'm never going to make something I can be happy with. Excuse me. It'd be like that though. Nice, thanks. No matter how much I put into this, it will never be enough. Look, maybe you're right, but we care about this a lot. And that is enough. We can do this together. Oh, have I got purple hair now? Oh. I do! Yippee! Wait. Oh, that's fine. That's not in the foreground. Where am I going? Up there? Okay. Ah. Ow. Come on. Not like that, yes, Prana. Oh? My screen was going wobbly. Whoa there! Whee! And I'm back home. Aww. Ready to try this again? Yeah, but let's grab lunch first. I love that level. It's so good. Okay, I think I shall wind it down there for the night because, yeah, fast approaching midnight for me. Oh yeah, that song we were listening to, by the way, the music for it, the track itself is called Going for a Walk to Take My Mind Off Things. That's cute. I love that. Right, let me exit all the way out. I don't know if that's the vibe, actually. I thought this song was the vibe. That'll do, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, that was me with a Windows noise. Oh. Sorry again, I accidentally closed 3 separate windows instead of just 1. That was remarkable from me. There we go. There we go. Right, so that will do us for today. I know this was a really random stream with No Man's Sky and then a cheeky little bit of Celeste. But yes, I appreciate your being here. Yeah, okay. So, I shall... Yes, stop us there. I don't know when our next stream. It probably won't be for a few days. I don't think it'll be tomorrow. Or probably not Monday, and then not Tuesday. I don't think. I don't know when our next stream. I don't think it's tomorrow though. Yeah. Okay. So I've had a look at who's live. Finster is live. No chance. So yes, I think we'll call it there. We should patiently wait for your return. Thanks. Yes, I'll try. Yeah, I'll let you know ahead of time in Discord. Thanks, appreciate it. I'll let you know, yeah, ahead of time when I'm going to stream. I'll perhaps try and coordinate with Mimi and maybe get some sort of Fortnite stream going sometime. Who knows? And then, yes, we'll be back with Leighton again soon as well. Oh, that's not the song. I'll give me something new. Thank you. There we go. Okay. That's what we'll do. So I will see you soon. I'll... yeah. Let you know. And... yes. Okay. Put us on the ending screen. Bye, friends. Bye. Squeak.